With man-made islands, not only could you use it as a way to have farms, to have organic farming when the real land is an issue, but also a way to encourage aquatic economic developers to transition developers from uh, tearing down trees and habitats on the mainland and building these man-made island eco-developments where it would be cheaper to actually develop because Venice was made a long time ago. The Aztecs built these islands. It's literally not rocket science, and to be able to sell to a different class, right? Because in Florida, a lot of the new developments they're only renting. They're not selling anymore. So that limits the generational wealth from passing down and not inheriting your parents' house, right? And obviously, people that inherit a house are in a better position to stay in society and often from a position of strength than those that don't. So this is a way to battle again, maintaining a middle class by creating alternate options of development, and it could be self-sustainable on all these creative ways because you see these eco developments like in Mexico, Buckingham, in Florida, in North Fort Myers. There's a solar community, and they're super trendy. And it also fights this 1,000 years of like just conquering, right? People just going to the next place and conquering and conquistadors and the meek and weak being taken over, right? And if you create and normalize a way to create these aquatic developments, you could basically decrease the need to conquer because you're like, you know what, it's really expensive and time consuming to conquer these and a little bit of a headache when I could just spend less money, time and energy to just create my own. And so with the use of money and cost benefit analysis, you can encourage actual peace, right? And people are like, oh, what about hospitals? There's a thing called an EPIRB. It's like this little box, you push a button, and a helicopter can come to you immediately. And you already see all these ads, like they're trending, helicopter pilots everywhere. So, and it could increase a new industry, right? So people going into the military could have like a guaranteed income, because right now the helicopter pilots, like they do a lot of tours, right? Or fly for hospitals, but you could have like a helicopter pad on these places, right? So now you're expanding a job, right? Because people that I've met that are pilots, they love to fly, and and it kind of undermines all these attempts. Like it's the maximum control freak. Because if you're like man, Detroit and those kids with the lead in the water with that water tower they found, that's a nightmare thing. And then the food, you're like, man, it's like GMO, RNA, like I want control over my food. And then remember we had that Chinese drywall, so even the shelter. So yes, this is like, these are not widespread, but maybe you're a control freak and you're like, I just want to make sure where I am is eco-friendly, and they have their own fisheries, they have their own mollusk down there, like mussels and oysters, to clarify the water with just dropping some nets down. It just so now it's like, not only my existence is bettering the health of the earth and increasing plant diversity and animal diversity, versus a lot of modern day living, with modern development of like, I bought a house, but how many trees did they cut down? How many animals were displaced? Just like, at what cost did you get that house, right? And so it's just a way to kind of like flip the switch and have like every life on this planet being a net positive and an asset. And when you have these isolated areas, you can create your own culture, and you can be like, oh yeah, we have like a fishery breeding program that we teach, and we have a roseate spoonbill bird, and also a flamingo breeding habitat area, and you can create your own estuaries. There's just so much more when it's cheap and cheerful. You have more freedom versus when you're like, man, this was X hundred or X thousand per square foot to buy, right? Depending if you're where you are. So that, and also with the refugee issue, like people wanting to retire or move to a cheaper place, right? Mexico kicked out this religious group. What was it? Were they Amish? I don't know. But they kicked them out. I believe they massacred them. I'd have to double check, but that wasn't that long ago, a couple of years. There was just some African Americans that were murdered in Mexico, and the cartel left a note saying, we punish the people that did that. And a lot of these countries, even though America takes in so many, a lot of these countries, when you go to try and to make your money go farther, they're not that friendly. Croatia, and my kids are Croatian. It's like a cheaper Italy. They are not friendly to foreigners. So it's like, where do all the refugees go that are trying to improve their position? So just some issues, and it does kind of give you the defense, because in North Carolina with the fracking, the pipeline, the cost of water, like what was there? There's an actor that was stealing water for his avocado farm in California. So by having a system that can purify the water, and take the salt out, that's just built into these ecosystems, it takes away a lot of the traditional headaches, and you're kind of stopping the development of a lot of areas, which is a huge green initiative, because we all have grown up in certain places where there used to be X percentage more, and if we don't make a change, then it's kind of ridiculous to think that any change would occur. And population control is not the issue that's going to solve it, because China has one of their last economic bubbles. They had hundreds of condos that they still kept building, they still kept developing, without the people to buy them, because that was better for the bottom line of the companies. So in these big cities, population control still does not always decrease development. So that's why when you look at these more out of the box ideas that have been done before, there's just so many benefits.